To make a quick tutorial video on how to create a two-way table. At this point, you guys should have dealt with Venn diagrams and made some Venn diagrams, and you should have dealt with two-way tables, but probably not created your own two-way table. So I want to talk about how you can create a two-way table. We're going to start with this problem right here. There's 200 sophomores at a school. 80 boys, 50 students with a driver's license, 90 girls don't have a license. So when we make a two-way table, there's a couple things that we want to keep in mind. The first thing to remember is that two-way tables should have two distinct categories. So we'd have the results of a spinner, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or something yes or no. If it's a boy or if it's a girl, the grade they got in school, or the grade that they're in school, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, whatever. Something they like. If they like strawberry, blueberry, or raspberry, they might have their own categories. So when we read this question, we notice that there's 200 sophomores at the school. So that sounds like it's going to be the total of everything, but there's 80 boys and 50 students with their driver's license. So we wouldn't want to do something like this where we say boys, driver's license, and then girls and no driver's license. And I hope it makes sense why we would not want to do this. It gets a little bit confusing. You can't be both a boy and a girl at the same time. In this box, it would say that you have a driver's license and you don't have a driver's license. So again, we want to keep in mind sort of like that. It could be a boy or it could be a girl. And you could either have a driver's license or you could not have a driver's license. So we really want to make sure that we focus on those categories when we're making it. Then from there, it says if only one category is mentioned, it's going to be a total and it's going to go on the outside. Whereas if two categories are mentioned simultaneously, it's going to go in the middle, and we'll call this the middle for lack of a better term. So we'll go back and read the question. It says there's 200 sophomores at a school. Well, it sounds like sophomores is going to include everyone with a driver's license and not a driver's license, and everyone that's a boy and a girl. So that's going to be our total 200. There's 80 boys. Now, you'll notice it mentions that there's 80 boys, but it doesn't say anything about a driver's license. So that has to be a total. They say there's 50 students with a driver's license. Again, it doesn't say anything about whether they're a boy or a girl. So we can assume that that must be a total. 90 girls don't have a license. Now, they mention both things. They mention if it's a girl and that they don't have a driver's license, so we can put that in the middle. So here's how much of the two-way table we can fill in just based on the question. Now the rest of it is going to be up to us to do some arithmetic. So obviously we wouldn't want to start here because it could be 40 and 10 or 30 and 20 or 50 and 0. So we know it has to add up to 50, but there's two unknowns here, so we can't solve that. But we could start here. There's only one unknown here. We know that 50 plus 150 equals 200. We could also go here. We know that 80 plus 120 equals 200. And you can see what happens is as we begin to fill in some of these sections, some of the other things fill in. For instance, we now could say that 30 plus 90 equals 120. We can go here and we can say that 20 plus 30 equals 50. And then we can go here and either 20 plus 60 equals 80 or 60 plus 90 equals 150. One thing I would suggest you do is when you're done making your two-way table, I would check the rows. 20 plus 30 is 50. That's true. 60 plus 90 is 150. That's true. 80 plus 120 is 200. That's true. But I would also encourage you to check the columns in case you made an error. It might not show up when you check the rows, but it will check up if you check both. So 20 plus 60 is 80. 30 plus 90 is 120. 50 plus 150 is 200. I feel pretty confident that we made a two-way table that encapsulates this problem pretty well. We know that there's 20 boys with a driver's license. We know that there's 30 girls with a driver's license. We know that there's 50 kids total with a driver's license. We know that there's 60 boys without a driver's license. We know that there's 90 girls without a driver's license. So we know that there is 150 kids without a driver's license. We know that there's a total of 80 boys. We know that there's a total of 120 girls. I hope this makes sense. As always, feel free to reach out to either me or Mrs. Baldwin if you have questions.